Listen to me carefully. Most people don't fail because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity. They fail because they are trapped. Trapped in emotional patterns. Trapped in mental conditioning. Trapped in beliefs they never consciously chose. And the most dangerous part of all is that they don't even realize they're living inside a prison, built by their own unconscious mind. They wake up every morning thinking they're making free choices. Yet their thoughts, reactions, and decisions are being directed by invisible scripts written years ago. Those scripts were created when they were children. A careless comment from a parent. A humiliating moment at school. A financial struggle witnessed at home. Someone said, "You're not smart enough," or "money is hard," or "people like us don't succeed." In that moment, the mind didn't analyze, it absorbed. Emotionally charged experiences became beliefs. And those beliefs slowly formed identity. And identity, more than effort or strategy, determines destiny. You don't rise above the story you believe about yourself. You live inside it. Why do 99% of people stay stuck in the same cycles year after year? Because they never question the story. They repeat it. The same thoughts create the same emotions. The same emotions drive the same behaviors. The same behaviors produce the same results. Then those results reinforce the original belief. Becomes a closed loop. Belief, thought, emotion, action, result, reinforced belief. Most people aren't living new years. They're reliving the same year over and over and calling it a life. People say they're afraid of failure, but that's not the truth. They're afraid of uncertainty. The human brain would rather experience familiar disappointment than unfamiliar possibility. It prefers predictable struggle over unpredictable growth. Even if someone hates their situation, at least they know it. Growth requires stepping into the unknown, and the unknown threatens the identity. So the mind protects the old self, even when the old self is small, limited, and unhappy. At the core of every repeated pattern is identity. You don't get what you want in life. You get what you believe you deserve. If someone subconsciously believes they are unworthy of success, they will sabotage opportunities without realizing it. They will procrastinate, hesitate, overthink, or quit early. Not because they lack capability, but because their identity is defending its boundaries. The mind's primary job is not to make you successful. It is to make you consistent with who you believe you are. Change does not begin with strategy. It begins with awareness. The breakthrough question is simple but powerful. What must I believe about myself to keep producing these results? The answer may be uncomfortable. Maybe the belief is, "I'm not disciplined," or "I'm bad with money," or "I can't stay consistent." These statements feel like facts, but they are decisions. Decisions made in moments of emotional intensity. And any belief that was once created can be replaced. Understanding this intellectually is not enough. Real change requires emotional leverage. Human beings do not move because of information. They move because of emotion. If staying the same becomes more painful than changing, transformation begins. Imagine 5 years from now with the same habits, the same income, the same excuses. Feel the weight of that repetition, then imagine breaking the pattern. New standards, new confidence, new momentum. The contrast between those two futures creates the emotional fuel for growth. The most powerful force in psychology is the need to remain consistent with our self-definition. If someone says, "I'm just not that type of person," they will unconsciously act in ways that prove it. The brain does not search for truth. It searches for confirmation. It filters reality to validate existing beliefs. That is why motivation alone fades. Motivation touches behavior temporarily. Belief governs identity permanently, and identity always wins. Here is the empowering truth. You are not stuck. You are conditioned. And conditioning can be rewritten, but rewriting it requires courage. Because growth demands the death of the old identity. The version of you who doubts, hesitates, and plays small must be released, so the stronger version can emerge. That process feels uncomfortable because it challenges familiarity, but it is the gateway to expansion. Right now, make a decision. Not a wish, not a hope. A decision. Decide that your past does not define you. Decide that old beliefs do not have authority over your future. Decide that you are the author of your identity. The moment you take ownership of that power, the belief trap begins to break. And once the trap is broken, patterns lose their grip, possibilities expand, and the 1% path, The path of conscious creators opens before you. Limiting beliefs are not random. They are formed in moments of emotional intensity, combined with repetition. When you were a child, your brain was not filtering reality. It was absorbing it. You didn't have the ability to question meaning. So whatever happened, you made it mean something about you. If your effort wasn't praised, you might have decided, I'm not good enough. If your family struggled financially, you might have concluded, money is scarce. If love felt inconsistent, you may have internalized, I have to earn affection. None of those were facts. They were interpretations. But the brain does not distinguish strongly between interpretation and truth, especially when emotion is involved. The stronger the emotion, the deeper the imprint. That imprint becomes belief, and belief becomes identity. Here's what most people never realize. The event is not what shapes you. The meaning you assign to the event shapes you. Two children can experience the same hardship. One grows up believing life is unfair. I'm a victim. The other grows up believing, I'll never live like this again. I will rise. A same event, different meaning, different destiny. So the real power lies in meaning. But why do we hold on to limiting meanings so tightly? Because they serve a psychological function. They protect us from pain. If you believe I'm not a risk taker, you never have to risk rejection. If you believe I'm bad at business, you never have to face the possibility of failing publicly. The belief becomes a shield, and that shield feels safe. Yet the same shield that protects you from pain also blocks you from growth. Now let's uncover the 3 invisible fears controlling 99% of human behavior. The first is the fear of not being enough, not smart enough, not attractive enough, not capable enough. This fear drives perfectionism, procrastination, and comparison. It whispers, don't try too hard, you might prove you're inadequate. So, people stay small to avoid exposing weakness. The second fear is the fear of not being loved. Human beings are wired for connection. If pursuing your dreams risks criticism, judgment, or rejection, your nervous system interprets that as danger. So you unconsciously tone yourself down to stay accepted. You sacrifice authenticity for approval. The third fear is the fear of losing control. Growth requires uncertainty, and uncertainty feels threatening. So the mind chooses predictable dissatisfaction over unpredictable possibility. You stay in the job you dislike. You stay in habits that drain you. Because at least you know them. These 3 fears, being inadequate, unloved, and out of control, drive most decisions beneath the surface. And until you confront them, you will continue making logical choices that emotionally protect you while strategically limiting you. Now here's the breakthrough. Beliefs are not permanent structures. They are neural patterns reinforced by repetition and emotion. And what was wired can be rewired. The first step in rewiring is disruption. You must interrupt the old pattern. When you notice yourself thinking, I'm not disciplined, stop. Question it. Think of, is this absolutely true? Or is this a story I've rehearsed? Your brain may resist. That's normal. Identity resists change because it values certainty. The second step is creating a new empowering meaning. Instead of, I failed because I'm incapable, shift to, I failed because I'm learning a new standard. Instead of, I'm bad with money, shift to, I haven't mastered money yet. That one. Word yet creates possibility. It shifts identity from fixed to evolving. The third step is emotional reinforcement. You must condition the new belief with intensity. Visualization alone is weak if it's passive. You must feel it. Imagine acting with confidence. Imagine executing with discipline. Feel the pride. Feel the certainty. Emotion accelerates neurological change. But here's the truth most people avoid. Identity transformation requires evidence. You cannot just think your way into a new identity. You must act into it. Small, consistent actions build proof, and proof strengthens belief. The same loop that once trapped you can now liberate you. New belief. New thought, new emotion, new action, new result, reinforce new belief. This is how the 1% operate. They consciously design identity. They don't ask, what do I want? They ask, who must I become to create what I want? That question shifts everything, because goals are external, but identity is internal. And internal shifts create external breakthroughs. Imagine deciding today, I am someone who keeps promises to myself. Not someday. Not when it's convenient. Now, then prove it with one small action. Finish the task. Wake up on time. Follow through once. That action sends a signal to your brain. A new standard has been set. Standards determine life, not wishes. A motivation, standards. The moment you raise your standard for who you are, your behaviors must rise to meet it. And if they don't, the discomfort pushes you to align. This is how the belief trap breaks, not through inspiration alone, but through conscious identity design and emotional conditioning. So ask yourself right now, what belief has been running my life? And what belief must replace it? Because the truth is powerful. You are not your past interpretations. You are the meaning maker. You are the author. And the pen is in your hands. First, you must define the future self with precision, not vaguely, not emotionally, specifically. Who is the version of you that already lives the life you want? How does that person think under pressure? How do they speak? What standards do they refuse to compromise? What do they tolerate and what do they no longer tolerate? Identity is shaped by standards, and standards are shaped by what you decide is unacceptable. Most people don't have a motivation problem. They have a standards problem. They tolerate inconsistency. They tolerate distraction. They tolerate self-doubt. And whatever you tolerate becomes your reality. So raise the standard. Decide that excuses are no longer acceptable. Decide that breaking promises to yourself is no longer acceptable. Decide that shrinking in moments of fear is no longer acceptable. When the standard rises, behavior must follow. Second, understand the power of environment. You are not just shaped by your thoughts. You are shaped by what surrounds you. The conversations you listen to, the media you consume, the expectations of your peer group. If you stay in environments that reinforce your old identity, transformation becomes exhausting. But if you place yourself in environments that demand growth, evolution becomes natural. Energy is contagious. Standards are contagious. Beliefs are contagious. If you spend time with people who complain, you will justify complaining. If you spend time with people who execute, you will feel pressure to execute. Environment either reinforces your old story or challenges you to rewrite it. Third, build daily rituals that anchor identity. Identity is not built in grand moments. It is built in small, repeated actions. The way you start your morning, the way you respond to discomfort, the way you handle setbacks. Create rituals that align with your new identity. If you are becoming disciplined, prove it every morning. If you are becoming confident, speak with intention even when your voice shakes. If you are becoming focused, eliminate distractions deliberately. Repetition wires identity. And here's something powerful. Your nervous system must learn that discomfort equals growth, not danger. Right now, when you feel uncertainty, your body signals threat. That's why you retreat. But if you repeatedly take action despite discomfort, your brain begins associating uncertainty with expansion. The emotional pattern shifts. Fear becomes fuel. You cannot eliminate fear, but you can train yourself to move with it. Now let's talk about setbacks. Most people relapse into old patterns after one failure. Why? Because they interpret failure as proof that the old identity was true. See? I knew I couldn't change. That interpretation reactivates the old belief loop. But what if failure was reframed as evidence of growth? If you attempt something new and stumble, that is proof you are operating beyond your old identity. That is progress. The only real failure is retreating into familiarity. Identity reconstruction requires resilience, and resilience is built by meaning. If you give pain empowering meaning, it strengthens you. If you give pain disempowering meaning, it shrinks you. The 1% are not fearless. They simply interpret fear differently. Now here's the ultimate shift. Stop asking, how do I stay motivated? Start asking, what identity makes motivation unnecessary? When you see yourself as someone who trains, you don't need motivation to exercise. When you see yourself as someone who executes, you don't need motivation to act. It's who you are, and who you are determines what you do automatically. So build proof daily. Keep small promises. Track small wins. Celebrate progress. Every completed action becomes evidence, and evidence solidifies belief. Over time, the new loop replaces the old one. Empowering belief. Aligned thought, confident emotion. Decisive action, improved result. Reinforced empowering belief. The same neurological system that once kept you trapped now propels you forward. Let me challenge you right now. If nothing changes, where will you be 3 years from today? Same habits, same circle, same income, same excuses. Feel that weight. Now imagine 3 years of aligned identity, higher standards, intentional environment, daily disciplined rituals. Imagine the compound effect. Confidence multiplies, skill compounds, opportunities expand. The gap between those two futures is not talent, it is belief. And belief is a decision. Right now, decide who you are becoming, not based on your past, not based on current evidence, based on your chosen standard. Because the truth is simple and powerful. 99% stay stuck because they unconsciously protect old identities. The 1% evolve because they consciously design new ones. You are not trapped by your history. You are only trapped by the identity you refuse to release. So release it. Raise your standard. Rewrite the meaning. Condition the new belief. And step into the version of you that has been waiting on the other side of courage. This is where the pattern breaks. This is where momentum begins. This is where you stop living by default and start living by design.